President Barrow on Friday addresses the nation amidst the devastating windstorm that hit the country. Uganda has witnessed a significant drop in COVID-19 infections thanks to the imposed restrictions. And Gambia's drug law enforcement agency rounded up more than 50 individuals over drug-related crimes. Well, these and more coming ahead in News Desk. Hello, this is Africa TV. Many thanks for joining us. I am Amadou Kante, and now the news in detail. Now, President Adama Barrow has on Friday addressed the nation following an overnight windstorm disaster that struck the nation, claiming lives of at least 10 people. The Gambian leader extended his heartfelt condolences to the families of the windstorm victims and said his government has taken immediate action to address the issue. The Cisse has more of that in this report.
Some families in the Gambia wandered around in search of shelter on Thursday, following the overnight windstorm that claimed the lives of at least 10 people in the country. The disaster that affected over 3,000 people has left more than 1,500 others internally displaced. Despite the overwhelming joy rendered to people, especially the farmers towards the rainy season, the recent windstorm has left everyone with deep sadness and sorrow as some families mourn the death of their loved ones. Addressing the nation on Friday, President Adama Barrow extended condolences to families of the deceased and prayed for speedy recovery for those injured due to the storm.
On behalf of the government and the entire nation, I commiserate with all those affected directly or indirectly. In particular, I extend heartfelt condolences to the bereaved families for the sad loss of lives. And I pray for solace for those who suffer damage to property. In the same vein, I pray for the speedy recovery of all those injured and their loved ones who perish in the storm to rest in eternal peace.
President Barrow said his government is fully aware of the scale that may cause this natural tragedy, and as a result, they have taken immediate action to address the issue. He unveiled some of the plans his government has taken so far to handle this unfortunate situation.
Working with the National Disaster Agency, NDMA, and the relevant line institutions, the government has activated the country's emergency preparedness and response plan. The National Disaster Management Agency staff deployed around the country are working tirelessly to assess the full extent of the damage, and they are instituting measures to mitigate the effect of this natural disaster. Based on an NDMA preliminary assessment report, the storm destroyed property worth millions of dollars.
The Gambian leader urged citizens, including cooperative bodies and development partners, to work with the National Disaster Management Agency on disaster risk mechanisms to support the victims. Apart from claiming the lives of 10 people across the country, the NDMA report appeared to show that more than 3,000 people have been affected by the storm, and over 1,500 of whom have been displaced. Some of the victims in Sinjubalia have told iAfrica TV that this year's windstorm is the worst disaster they have witnessed so far. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Cisse.
The Gambian leader, President Adama Barrow, there, of course, speaking to Gambians on the aftermath of the Wednesday night windstorm that struck the country, leading to loss of lives. Now, Uganda has seen a significant decline in the number of coronavirus cases since President Museveni imposed strict lockdown measures to contain the surging infections. Figures from the Ministry of Health indicated a fall by more than half of the number of infected persons as of early last month. Here's more details of that in this report.
COVID-19 patients in Kampala, most are on the mend.
When I was brought here, I could not breathe. I could not even stand on my own, but I can now take off my oxygen and move about. I walked around the stadium twice. I didn't need any support.
Samakula, like many other patients, will soon be walking out of this facility. Last month, at least 100 patients were being admitted here each day. Now, the treatment center has recorded a sharp drop in cases, with only 40 patients currently admitted.
And I think that's due to the lockdown. It could also be possible that maybe many patients have preferred to do home-based care. They have decided to stay at home, which is not bad, but we don't advise a patient who has difficulty in breathing, who may require oxygen, to stay at home.
Officials, however, admit there's still a long way to go in controlling the spread of COVID-19. Uganda has so far vaccinated more than 1 million people and suffers from a limited supply of vaccines. Uganda has recorded over 86,000 cases since March last year. Uganda registered some of its highest daily case totals in May and early June this year. That put immense pressure on the country's healthcare system. With strict measures now in place, cases appear to be moving in the right direction.
And from the reporter in Kampala, Uganda, we come back home. Now, during the last day of the second session of the legislative year 2021, lawmakers in Banjul debated on pressing issues that are affecting the society and requires attention of the executive. One of such issues is the Senegal-Gambia fishing agreement that lawmakers branded illegal, prompting its unanimous suspension. Khadija Seka has more details of that in this report.
National Assembly members are the voice and representatives of the people, hence working to provide solutions to the challenges of the ordinary citizens are their top responsibility. In their adjournment debate, they raise many issues affecting their various constituencies and demanding answers from ministries as to why those issues are still unresolved. The Honorable Member for Banjul South made a resolution to summon the Minister of Fisheries and Water Resources to answer questions of activities of his ministry, according to Clause 48 of the Standing Order. After appearing before lawmakers, the minister admitted that the Senegal-Gambia fishing agreement was illegal because it wasn't scrutinized by the parliamentarians. This prompted the parliamentarians to unanimously suspend the agreement. Appearing again before lawmakers on Tuesday, the Minister of Fisheries and Water Resources, James Gomez, said the agreement has expired since the month of March 2021, but added that a copy was sent to the Parliament for lawmakers to look into. According to him, part of the agreement is that the Gambia will benefit from their partner in the area of aquaculture because the country lacks experts in this field.
In fact, in that letter I sent the next day, I told you what was happening. Part of the agreement was capacity building. We have 3 Gambians. One is completing his doctorate degree, another completing his master's degree, and another completing his bachelor's degree, because we lack capacity in the fisheries side. And they are also giving us 2 technicians for aquaculture. But I am hoping that once we can put this together in the next couple of months, we will be able to bring this back. But
the Honorable Member for Banjul Central raised concern over the low salary received by civil servants. In response, the Minister for Finance and Economic Affairs, Mamburin Jai, said they are working to solve the civil servant salary scheme.
Yes, there's a lot of work that the PMO is doing for the salary restructuring. We are aware that the salary scales, not only that they are poor, but the difference between the upper and the lower is definitely a huge difference. So we are hoping that we should be able to get all the information, and by the time we come for the budget, we should be able to submit the full detailed report to be scrutinized by the National Assembly.
Since last year, the price hikes in basic commodities is of great concern to the ordinary Gambian. In the voice of the Minister of Trade and Regional Integrity, the rise in price of commodities is as a result of COVID-19 adding that they have engaged the executive to discuss how to mitigate this challenge, but the outcome was not as expected.
And as a government, we are particularly concerned. But as we have mentioned in all the interventions we have had, these have a number of factors about which we have identified 80% to be exogenous factors due to the external shocks imposed on the economy by the COVID, as well as about 20% due to domestic factors, particularly the congestion at the ports. The issue is not unique to Gambia, it's a worldwide phenomenon, and as a result we engage with the relevant stakeholders from the GRA to the shipping lines to the importers, as well as with the colleague Ministry of Finance. This was also discussed at Cabinet, and a number of decisions were taken, albeit not as much as we would have wanted.
The lawmakers also addressed the issue of executive to be present when they are called. The absence of ministers have caused the parliament to adjourn the question and answer session until the following day, marking the end of the second session. According to the nation's lawmakers, this is something that has been going on for years and needs to stop. The National Assembly member for Woolly West, Honorable Sidia Jata, said, "The permanent secretaries cannot represent or speak on behalf of ministers when national matters are being discussed at the parliament. They urge public officials to concord to the request of the parliamentarians when they are summoned to address the problems of the people." Khadija Seka, iAfrica News.
Cabinet ministers appeared before the lawmakers in Banjul to respond to issues of national development. Now, elsewhere, in their efforts to put an end to the insurgency in Rwanda, set to deploy at least 1,000 personnel contingent from its defense force and Rwanda National Police to Mozambique. The move stemmed from a decision by the Southern Africa Development Community to restore order in the northern part of the gas-rich nation. Insurgency in the area has been ongoing since 2017. And let's have more details of that in this report.
The insurgency has been part of life in Cabo Delgado for at least 3 years and has left thousands dead and hundreds of thousands of people displaced. The government paid little attention initially and then asked several groups of foreign military contractors to intervene. They failed.
There was also a sense that these were just small criminal groups that were trying to sabotage the liquid natural gas operations, that it was linked to organized crime, and that actually with some operations by private security, they could beat this almost. So on the one hand, a sense of pride, I would say, on another, perhaps genuinely misreading the threat and the various narratives that were around this.
Now that the Mozambican authorities have acknowledged that they need help and following a range of bilateral talks with European and African countries, Southern African Development Community troops are about to be deployed.
You are sitting with a third force, the official military force, that there are serious questions about their capability and their ability to gain the trust of local communities, and I cannot see that foreign forces will transcend that for as long as they're being seen to be aligned to the military of Mozambique, which will create serious problems in terms of intelligence and in terms of support vitally needed.
Then there's the question of which of the SADC countries will send in troops and how they're going to fund operations, as SADC has already indicated it has a budget of only $12 million to fund the standby force. Analysts suggest that the troop deployments may not be successful against insurgents who have used hit-and-run guerrilla tactics in the past.
I dread that the militarization and the arms race is going to accelerate the divide, is going to complicate the conflict theater, and insurgents will most definitely adjust much quicker than a traditional war capacity and soldiers trained in traditional warfare tactics.
The situation in Cabo Delgado remains volatile and it's unclear whether the two forces will actually have any impact on the security situation there or not.
Rwanda is set to deploy troops to Mozambique to help restore peace in the country. Well, there's more news coming ahead, but for now we take a break and come back shortly with the remaining of the story. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
The pride we take in our brand, the work we put into constantly change the landscape and elevate real estate in the Gambia, it's compared to none. From inception, our goal was to add value to the beautiful Gambian landscape. That's why we are proud innovators of community estates. Kololi Sands is an exceptional piece of work, tailored for ultimate convenience and luxury, to bring you an element of finesse that is rare but unique in its own. This is also our pride and joy, and we welcome you to the exquisite beauty right here in Kololi and right here on the waterfront. Kololi Sands, feel the ocean breeze at your doorstep.
Welcome back to Africa TV, and once again many thanks for joining us. Now, Gambia's Drug Law Enforcement Agency has announced the arrest of 52 individuals, including 2 foreigners, over drug-related crimes in the month of June 2021. This is drugs range from cannabis to cocaine and were confiscated in different parts of the country. Isa Jallo has more of that in this report.
That of cocaine total 4 grams and 500 milligrams. At least 49 cases were recorded and 52 people were arrested in the process.
We arrested 49. We have 49 cases for the month of June, and we arrested 52 people, and 50 of them are Gambians, 2 of them are non-Gambians. Now you look at cases per drug type. Now the number of arrests that was made with regards to cannabis, we have 12 trafficking cases and 31 possession cases. For hashish, we have 2 trafficking cases and 3 possession cases. For cocaine, cocaine does not have a possession case, it's only trafficking, and we have 1 trafficking case for cocaine.
Based on the statistics, West Coast region has made more seizures when it comes to cannabis. This is due to the region's proximity to Casamas, where cannabis is grown.
Now, looking at the regional seizures, with regards to these drugs, for cocaine, KM, we have 16 kilogram, 547 grams, 100 milligrams of cannabis. For hashish, we seize 44 grams, 900 milligrams from KM. West Coast, we seize 145 kilogram, 520 grams. For hashish, 43 grams and 600 milligrams. For cocaine, we have 4 grams, 500 milligrams, all from West Coast.
The issue of drug abuse and trafficking is becoming more alarming in our country, which is a contributing factor for rampant crime rates and sanity issues. But the Drug Law Enforcement Agency assured the public that they will continue to work tirelessly in order to exorbitantly reduce this issue. Reporting for iAfrica News, Aisha Jallo.
Gambia's Drug Law Enforcement Agency intensifies efforts to combat drug trafficking in the country. And finally, to Nigeria we go next, because school kidnappings have resulted to negative impact on the Nigeria's educational system, as hundreds of students are forced out of school due to fear of being kidnapped. More than 1,120 schools have been closed across the northwestern part of Nigeria, and nearly 400,000 students in the region are out of school because of insecurity. And here's more details of that in this report.
Falmata Usman now lives here with her family after relocating from Borno State to Abuja last year. She says they had to escape the kidnappings and terror.
Our town was being attacked, houses burned, and we couldn't stay. So my husband and I had to take our children out of school, and we ran here to Abuja for safety.
Not everyone has managed to escape that wave of insecurity like Falmata. Since December, around 1,000 students in northern Nigeria have been kidnapped. The United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization says kidnappings in schools have increased. UNESCO puts the number of abducted students in recent attacks at 348, after more than 100 students were kidnapped from Kaduna State earlier this month.
This is something that must be treated as a national security emergency. It has to be an all-out war, a concise surgical military operation with clinical precision to take out criminal headsmen from our communities, from our towns, from our villages, and decimate them as much as possible, secure our borders, tighten border security, and make sure we do not see influx of people across the border.
In 2014, the UN launched a Safe School initiative in Nigeria after nearly 300 schoolgirls were kidnapped in Borno State. The program was focused on promoting safe zones for education, rebuilding schools, and boosting the presence of security agencies. It involved teachers, parents, police, and leaders in the affected communities. However, the program was discontinued after a new administration assumed office in 2015.
Northern Nigeria has been classified from the early 70s as an educationally disadvantaged region in Nigeria, so requiring certain form of affirmative actions to prop up more access to education for children from Northern Nigeria. And so with this latest onslaught on educational facilities, of course, the North will sink deeper into educational depression, such that all gains made in the last 50 years to lift the North out of educational disadvantage would have been reversed substantially.
President Muhammadu Buhari has condemned the attacks on schools, which he warns could badly hit the country's already struggling education sector.
The Kaduna State government has also closed down 13 schools indefinitely, while security operatives intensify efforts to find and rescue the missing students. It's part of a directive from President Buhari for security agencies to act swiftly in search of the abducted victims in all the affected states.
Those efforts to restore security need to bear fruit soon if people like Falmata are to feel safer in their communities.
School kidnappings has seriously affected Nigerian education system despite the government's commitment to address the situation. And from the reporter in Nigeria, we finally bring this news edition to an end. But for more details on this and other stories, as always, as ever, you can visit on our website on africa.tv. But there will be no news at 17:30 GMT or 5:30 local time. Until then, do have a very pleasant afternoon and bye for now.
South Africa Global is the first and biggest private estate developer in the Gambia and presence in 7 other African countries. We take pride in leading innovation in all spheres of real estate sector in the Gambia and beyond. As such, we are launching the development of the first smart and modern office and retail towers in the Gambia called Taft Twins. The Taft Twins is located in the heart of the Kanifing institutional area and 10 minutes drive away from Banjul.